Good day, everyone. I hope you're doing well. Today's video is on 10 interesting facts about B'Elanna Torres from Star Trek Voyager. Intelligent, beautiful, and had a chip on her shoulder. She made a great addition to Voyager. So, let's get into it. Number 1. B'Elanna was born in 2349 on the Federation colony Keswick 4 to John Torres, a human father, and Maril, a Klingon mother. She spent much of her life on Keswick 4, but because relations between the Klingon Empire and the Federation were not too cordial at the time, B'Elanna and her mother were the only Klingons on the planet. Although none of the other colonists voiced any negative opinions of B'Elanna, she felt that she and her mother were perceived differently, a feeling that made her uneasy and which she found hard to shake. B'Elanna's alienation and the roots of her insecurities had their foundations at an early age in her life, where she was teased for her appearance as a result of her Klingon heritage. Number 2. The alienation continued when her own father began distancing himself from them. At one time, when B'Elanna was on a camping trip with her father, her Uncle Carl, and her cousins Elizabeth, Dean, and Michael, she overheard her father complaining about her, likening her mood and angry behavior to that of her mother Maril, and that he had a hard time living with two Klingons. John Torres finally left the Federation colony and traveled back to Earth in 2354, when B'Elanna was 5 years old, never to return to his family again. For months after, B'Elanna cried herself to sleep every night, wondering what had made her father leave and if it was her fault. After her father left, B'Elanna and her mother lived on Kronos, the Klingon home world, for some time. Eventually, her mother pulled B'Elanna out of Federation school she was attending and took her to a Klingon monastery in order to teach her honor and discipline. Number 3. One of Torres' favorite foods as a child was banana pancakes with maple syrup, which her grandmother would make for her. That beloved meal always put a smile on B'Elanna's face. Her other favorite foods included potato salad with paprika and fried chicken. One time, Maril took her to visit the Sea of Gatun, where she almost drowned. After her mom resuscitated her, she told B'Elanna about the Klingon beliefs of the afterlife, Sto-vo-kor, and Greth-Tol. Number 4. Beginning in 2366, Torres attended Starfleet Academy, where she participated in the Academy decathlon team. She later admitted that after quitting, the track and field coach was furious with me. She also had to dodge several punches in the lab, which Chakotay later joked about, saying, "Only you, B'Elanna, would start a brawl in Astrology 101. Interstellar history was, according to Torres, the one subject I almost failed at the Academy. Also among her Academy training was EV suit simulations. She thought they felt peaceful, like floating in the womb. But years later, in actual practice, she said she felt a little sick to her stomach. During her time at the Academy, B'Elanna dated Maxwell Burke. However, their relationship did not last long. Number 5. Ultimately, B'Elanna had a hard time fitting in, often getting into trouble with instructors and faculty. Within 2 years at the Academy, she was suspended once and had 4 disciplining hearings against her. Even though quite a brilliant student and promising engineer, she eventually dropped out of the Academy in 2368 at the age of 19. She was later surprised to learn that Professor Chapman thought she was one of the most promising students he had ever taught and was disappointed when she dropped out. He had placed a note in her permanent records saying he would support her if she ever reapplied. Number 6. After leaving the Academy, an angry young Torres eventually joined the Maquis in 2370, after former Starfleet officer Chakotay saved her life. From then on, she formed a close friendship with Chakotay, and she became one of his most trusted friends. At that point in her life, the Maquis became the closest thing to family she had ever had. Fighting the Cardassians gave her the outlet she needed in dealing with her violent emotions. To help deal with her explosive and often violent temper, Chakotay taught her many Native American and spiritual techniques to help calm her emotions. He even trained her to speak her animal guide, and to his surprise, she was the only person he'd ever known who tried to kill her animal guide. B'Elanna considered Seska to be her best friend, long before finding out that Seska was really a Cardassian agent of the Obsidian Order. Number 7. In 2371, when their ship the Valjean was being chased into the Badlands by Gul-Evek's flagship, the Vitar, it was mysteriously transported to the Delta Quadrant by the caretaker. After the crew was subjected to a painful examination, the crews of Voyager and the Maquis vessel were returned to their ships, with the exception of Torres and Starfleet Ensign Harry Kim. Those two were sent to the caretaker to the Accompin settlement beneath the surface of the planet, where they were told they were dying and needed medical care. Torres refused to cooperate and attempted to escape. Both Torres and Kim were rescued by the crews of Voyager and the Maquis. The Valjean was later destroyed, and its crew, including Torres, joined the Federation starship USS Voyager. Number 8. Torres was initially assigned the provisional rank of Lieutenant Junior Grade. Torres had difficulty getting along with the temporary chief engineer, Joe Carey, to the point of breaking his nose over plasma conduits. She was recommended as a replacement of chief engineer by Chakotay, as the original chief engineer was killed by the damage caused by the caretaker's displacement wave. After Voyager became trapped in a quantum singularity, Torres proved her skills to Janeway and earned her respect. Janeway then made her chief engineer over Carey. Torres' quarters were on Deck 9, Section 12. Number 9. B'Elanna developed a special friendship with Harry Kim. She referred to him as Starfleet upon their first meeting, and had continued to do so off and on over their 7-year journey. The two would often work together on projects and often socialized together when off duty. Although their initial confrontation didn't end well, B'Elanna and 7 of 9 often agitated each other over the 4 years they were together on Voyager. They did respect each other's technical skills and high standards and respect for each other when it mattered the most. Number 10. She wed Paris after interstellar starship race that Irina, one of the participants, tried to sabotage and thereby destroy the peace in the area. She had joined Paris in the race because she wished to share his interests. A bomb was planted on their ship, but they were able to eject it in time. They married after the race. She again confronted her Klingon side when she became pregnant. She was afraid to have a baby because she thought that the baby would suffer as she had during childhood. She found out that the child had a deformed spine that the doctor could correct genetically in the womb. When she saw a projection of the child and discovered it had Klingon ridges, she questioned whether she wanted the child. She asked the doctor to make further genetic changes so that the child would not have Klingon features. She falsely altered a diagnostic test that convinced the doctor that changes were necessary. Paris found out about the false report and stopped the doctor from performing the procedure. He discovered that she blamed herself for her father having left her because she was Klingon. Paris convinced her that he would never do that and wanted a child just like her. She believed him and accepted the pregnancy. During the final battle with the Borg, which led to Voyager's return home, Torres gave birth to their daughter Mireille. I do hope you like this video. I think B'Elanna was played perfectly in Voyager, and I even had a little crush on her right from the beginning. So what did you think of B'Elanna? Let me know in the comments. Take care, and have a great day.